Hi, welcome to Living Well, the Ultimate Health Journey. I'm your host, Alice Boswell. And we also have Dr. Philip Zini. You see him down there. We have Angel Conway, and Jovi Marie, who just disappeared on us, but she's also a coach as well. We are here to give you the ultimate health journey of your life, give you tips and not tricks, but actually good sound, because we have a real doctor advice to help you along the way. Is that right?
Um, I I like to be called a real doctor and not just play one in the office.
See, he is not playing the one when he was a little kid with the. Y'all remember the stethoscope and we got to play the doctor? Yeah, he's not doing that. He's really doing his job, and he's really a great doctor. He has offices throughout the United States, but he is actually located in Reno. So you all should definitely get with him so he can give you some advice. But tonight we're going to be talking about something that's really dear to my heart: leg cramps and hurting. And I think this is one of Dr. Phil's specialties. Is that correct, Dr. Phil?
It is, unfortunately. Yeah.
So we're going to actually be talking about that. But let's see how everyone, we've been going for a little bit, so we want to see how everyone has been doing, right? How are you doing, Jovi?
I'm doing well, doing much better.
Right, because you wasn't
How
feeling
about
well this week.
yourself, Alice? How are you doing?
I am doing well.
I
Yes.
wasn't, but I'm doing much better. Um, with Dr. Phillips' guidance, I'm
Mhm.
also seeing Dr. Grisha, and then I had some exercise from Steve as well, Steve Smith. So it's been good. So
Okay. All
I'm
right.
truly grateful for Dr. Phillip and everyone that's been
Mhm.
helping me out. So
Okay. And how about yourself, Angel?
Hello, everyone. I'm doing well, actually. Thank the Lord. No complaints. Everything's going good in every area of life. So, too blessed to be stressed.
What it is. Listen, while
I
you're
like that.
listening to the show, if you have questions for Dr. Phil, go ahead and put them in the chat so we can. We're on Instagram and we're on YouTube tonight. So go ahead and put those questions in there for him because he loves to talk. He may not look like it, but he loves to talk. So how was your week? And he went on a cruise. He left us. So how was your cruise, Dr. Phil?
Inspiring and also beneficial to see how different people are utilizing our products, which is kind of amazing, beyond the kind of box, if you will, and the benefits that people are having. So all good, all great.
All right. Well, let's get started, and we're going to actually get started with Dr. Zini, and he's going to be talking about. And what are we talking about, Dr. Zini?
So, because of your little incidents that you had with your leg and hospital visits, we're going to talk about two types of leg pain. And
Hmm.
one of them is kind of an overall type of leg pain, and the other is very specific to a joint. And they can mimic, or it can be kind of similar, if you will. But if you know some of the key factors, then you understand what the difference is. So the first one, which is life threatening, and that's a blood clot. And a blood clot means that the blood flow from the leg going back towards the main body, so going back towards the heart, specifically in the vein, gets blocked off. And usually that's either by a something that breaks off, which is a clot or an embolism, or the blood flow slowly diminishes over time because of the narrowing of the vein, either because of trauma or because of uh, some type of an inflammatory response that causes the the caliber or the width of the vein to become narrowed, and then it becomes so narrowed that eventually the blood flow stops. either way, it's a decrease or a cessation or stoppage of blood flow, and that could be potentially life-threatening. So the big difference is that it's generalized pain throughout the whole leg. Sometimes the leg can be warm or, quite frankly, hot. Usually there's swelling that's throughout the whole leg and not just specifically in one area of the body. And more typically, the pain is either behind the knee or in the calf muscle below the knee. And the kind of the hallmark is you'll see generalized swelling of the whole leg. And speaking from experience, because I had a blood clot in my left leg, and I had the perfect storm. And what I mean by that was I had some specific knee pain, and then I had a procedure where I had stem cells drawn from my body, and I had blood drawn from my body to make PRP. So that made me what's called hypovolemic, which means the overall volume of my blood was decreased. So that was one strike against me. The second was because of the type of treatment, it required a tight elastic knee brace. So that compressed the vein behind my knee. So that was my strike two. And then my strike three was I was training for a 7-mile race. So I was constantly hydrating. So we get to the race. I'm not feeling so good. My leg is swollen, but I was just thinking it was because of all the training and everything. My wife was kicking me, saying, kind of keep up with me and, hang in there. And I tried my best to hang in there with her. So finally, I got back to my clinic on Monday. The race was on a Sunday. I got back to my clinic on Monday, put an ultrasound probe behind my knee, and I saw this big blood clot behind my knee. So I should have known better, but when it's your own body, you think, it's not that big of a deal. But that's a blood clot. So before I go on to talk about specific knee pain, Alice, you want to kind of describe maybe what went on with you or some questions that other people may be asking?
No, mute.
So one of my questions would be, or what actually went on with me was I had a few weeks ago, I went on a vacation. We went to Houston. We got diverted to Gulfport, where we had to sit on the plane for a long period of time, but we couldn't get off because the plane was too big for the airport. So I sat there, and the only time I got up is to go to relieve myself. However, I started feeling the aches in my knee then, but I didn't think much about it. So we were on the plane from 7 a.m. and didn't get off till almost 4. So I go to, we do get to Houston, and I feel my knees stiffening up. I still didn't think anything about it. So somebody told me, well, you're going to be at the pool. Go ahead and just do some exercise in the pool. It should help out. So I did that. However, it was like a couple of days after I got back off my vacation, I was definitely in pain. My leg has swelled up. Well, my leg started to swell up, but it was mostly my knee area. But it started from the lower calf, and it stopped right above the knee. They thought I had blood clots. I went to the hospital, and it was not any blood clots. So they said they want me to, kind of relax and do a little exercise with it. As I'm walking at work the next day, and this is after leaving the hospital, I felt a pop in the back of my knee. So they said it may have been a cyst that popped, and it may have been something that was already there. So I don't know. I did let Dr. Zini take a look at what they did. But they did 2 x-rays and an ultrasound, 2 ultrasounds and an x-ray, and they didn't see anything. So sitting for a long period of time can actually damage your knee. And I also have a touch. They said it's not anything to be concerned about, but I have a touch of arthritis in my knee. So how sitting for long periods of time did that much damage to me?
So you brought up an excellent point, and that was my 4th strike because I sat on an airplane before I ran and did this race. So
Mhm.
when you sit in a seated position, you're compressing the vein behind your knee and you're restricting the blood flow, especially if you fly coach economy like I do. So you're kind of jammed into a little seat into the fetal position. So your blood flow is not good. That's one thing. The other thing is when your knee is kind of compressed like that, the kneecap or the patella, that's the big bone in front of your knee, that gets pressed up against the femur, which is the big leg bone. So that joint is compressed, and that can cause pain because it's kind of like two bones. Instead of friction rubbing, kind of rubbing back and forth, it's just
Right.
constant compression and constant pressure. And the underlying or the surface of the joint has a very sensitive lining, and that can be irritated and compressed. And when that gets injured, then that creates what's called synovial fluid effusion, which means that the knee joint itself gets inflamed or swollen. So there's a couple of different mechanisms that can cause what we would call intra-articular, which means inside the joint inflammation. And besides trauma, like twisting, bending, an actual direct impact injury, there are subtle ways that the knee could be injured and irritated in a way that causes this synovial swelling. And that just causes the knee to kind of blow up. But the big difference is it's just the knee, it's not the leg, it's not the calf, it's not the thigh above, it's just the knee itself. And that's the big differentiator.
And my thing was when I went to the hospital the second time, I told them it wasn't a blood clot there, but they wanted to do another X-ray again. And I'm like, this is a couple of days later. I'm like, why are you doing an X-ray? You just had an X-ray, so why would they want to do a second X-ray or ultrasound? Do a second ultrasound, not X-ray.
So the reason why they did the second ultrasound is because blood clots can develop very quickly. You can have a compromised blood flows. So think about the vein as being a big open pipe. And then slowly over time, it narrows down. And eventually it gets to a point where if something is too big to get through there, then it blocks it. And that sudden blockage can occur within hours or a day. So that's the reason for doing the repeat ultrasound. It's just to make sure that there wasn't a sudden event.
Okay. All right. Now they didn't give me anything, Dr. Zini, when I was there. They just told me to take some ibuprofen for pain if I had pain. But they didn't get it. They just basically told me the second time to try to walk on it for at least 30 minutes, do a light exercise, or they're going to send me to therapy. Does that sound about right when you're in pain? And I was in pain, doctor.
So you should have been given something for inflammation. So the first go-to is the over-the-counter stuff. So that's the ibuprofen, the naproxen, the over-the-counter anti-inflammatory stuff. However, we have a much better anti-inflammatory, and that's the CBDA, which is stronger than the over-the-counter. It's similar to prescription medicine, and not only that, but it's 1,000 times more potent than what you would typically get at a dispensary or a head shop. I'm showing my age, but it's a lot better because it doesn't have the hallucinogenic, get you high THC stuff.
All right, I know some people don't like that, but you recommended that, and I did go get it for myself, and I was very, very happy with it because it did help. It helped a whole lot, especially with the pain. I couldn't believe how much it helped. The swelling didn't go down so much as fast as I wanted it to, but the pain did kind of stop. So thank you very much for that.
No, you're welcome.
And what if he's
it's something that I recommend. Go ahead.
No, I was just letting everybody, I was showing everybody what he was talking about and what I was taking, what you told me to take was the CBDA.
Okay.
I love it.
Right. Very good.
Yeah. All right, ladies, y'all have any questions for Dr. Phil? Dr. Zini? Y'all have to say
Dr.
Dr.
Phillip.
Zini. Please say Dr.
I do
Zini.
actually. So, Dr. Phillip, one of the audience does have a question. Actually, they said that how do blood clots start and how do they get formed?
So usually it's from gradual narrowing of the vein, and that gradual narrowing is usually initiated by some type of trauma. The other way is what's called a stasis clot, which means that the blood flow is so sluggish that it literally just kind of thickens up and it eventually kind of clumps together. And that's the thought when people travel long distances. So the big concern is if you travel not only cross country, but especially transcontinental. So from here to Europe or here to Asia, where you're stuck in one position and the blood flow becomes very sluggish, plus you're dehydrated because you're not drinking a lot of fluids. So the blood kind of thickens up, if you will. So those are the two ways, either narrowing that eventually the blood is so thick that it can't pass through and it just stops, or the blood is so sluggish that it eventually kind of clots and stops. And that's the way.
Well, besides the
Can they get formed?
I didn't hear that, Jovi.
Jovi.
So do they get formed in a period of time and or short span of time, Dr. Phillip?
Yeah, so usually the clot itself forms in a very short period of time. However, leading up to it, the decreased blood flow, the injury, that could be anywhere from days or weeks or sometimes even months.
So besides the CBDA that I was taking, what else I could have taken to relieve some of that I was having, especially the inflammation?
Yeah, so especially the inflammation part, mangosteen has been around for decades. So we have a wonderful product called Xanthomist that helps out with reducing inflammation. So that works on what we call extracellular inflammation. So that means inflammation outside the cell, between the cells. So that would be beneficial. And then if there's kind of a metabolic process, either an immune issue or a liver where things aren't being detoxified enough, then glutathione will be beneficial, especially in someone older than 40, and that's the Glutamist product. So both of those should be used. If you only had to pick one, then it would be the Xanthomist first.
And that's this one right here, the orange one.
Correct.
All right. And then the ultimate vitamins that actually help with it as well.
So my personal belief is that everyone should be on some type of a foundation. So if you're going to spend the money on some type of foundational vitamin, instead of getting, the Walmart brand or the Costco brand, you might as well get something that your body can absorb, because the most expensive water in your house is your toilet water if your body isn't absorbing your vitamin. So if you're going to pay for something, it should be absorbed. And we didn't invent a great vitamin. We just took a great product and made it better bioavailable or better delivered into your system. That's kind of our claim to fame.
And for those who don't know, he's talking about the CTFO product. And those is watching, we're here every week on Wednesday at 8 p.m., 8 to 8:30. And Dr. Zini has given us some great information that we can definitely, especially me. I almost made him my personal doctor, so I have to stop because he's going to start charging me after a while. So when you take the Xanthomist, because I am going to order the Xanthomist, but I've already taken the CBDA, which I love. All right,
Mhm.
This is it, people. This is the truth right here. I can tell you that. I know my screen is like getting messed up, but this is the truth. But what I can do is show it to you here, and he is telling you, you just put this on your knee on the spot. It is external. You do not have to swallow it or anything like that, and it really does help with the pain that you have in your knee, especially since they say I have a touch of arthritis, right? So,
Mhm.
going along with that, doing a little exercise with the knee, is that okay? Because when I said I felt better, I did feel better with the CBDA, and I was able to move the knee back and forth.
Mhm. So usually some type of what's called high seat cycling, which means you're on a stationary bike or you have a road bike, something like that. You just raise the seat up so that this way you're not bending your knee as much, maybe 15, 20, at the very most 30 degrees. And by doing that, you're gently introducing range of motion in the knee without a lot of pressure. The absolute best is if you have access to a pool, is just walking in a pool. That's probably the ultimate best, but most people don't have access to a pool.
No. I have a membership so I can get to the pool that way. And when I was in Houston, it really did help out a whole lot being in the pool, moving my leg around. So that helped out. Sometimes I think that's why I didn't have so many problems while I was there, because I was in the pool a whole lot. So I do want to ask you a question though, and I just need to get to this specific one. We'll talk about this one after the show, but I heard this one was really good for you as well. And this is Super 1500 CBDA oil.
So again, the cream that you applied has the same CBDA as the oil. So
Okay.
the best way is to attack the joint from both sides, right? So the cream is on the surface and then the oil is on the inside, because there are receptors on the lining of the joint, and that's what the CBDA oil helps to do. So you drop it underneath your tongue, it's absorbed into the lymphatics, it gets to those receptors, and it helps to not only reduce the pain, but also reduce the inflammation. So that's curative, and the topical cream is pain relief. It can help out with somewhat of a cure, but the oil is going to be more curative and pain relief, whereas the topical is going to be primarily pain relief.
All right. But so let's go to Angel and Jovi. Y'all have anything to add?
So if you can please recap the things that helps with inflammation. So I remember you saying anti-inflammatories, hydrating, and the non-vigorous range of motion. Is there anything else that we can do to help out with inflammation?
Sure. If it's musculoskeletal inflammation, then on the outside of the cell, it's going to be the mangosteen product, the Xanthomist, the CBDA kind of tandem, both the oil that you drop underneath the tongue internally, the topical cream on the outside, and then on the inside of the cell, it's going to be the glutathione product, the Glutamist. And then again, the body needs all the metabolic functions to work. So that's what the foundational vitamin is going to help out with. And then it's all the conservative things. So making sure that you're adequately hydrated, doing some type of activity that's not going to make things worse, but allow you to keep on moving the joint so that this way things don't freeze up, they don't get stiff. And then, of course, if it's more than 3 days, you start using heat. Heat is always beneficial, whether you want to use like a heating pad or soak in a Epsom salt bath. That'll help out. So those are kind of the conservative things that you can do to help out.
Awesome. I've been in several bike accidents as a child, and I think that's what's caused my knee pain.
Mhm.
And so at one point I had this big old ball that showed up on my knee, and it persisted for like some weeks. And so I got concerned and went to the doctor. And like one of the first things the doctor said was, the last time I saw something like this, it was cancerous, because it was just like out of nowhere. Like there wasn't no recent trauma to my knee or anything. And so like they sent me to get I think it was an MRI. But that came back clean. And then by the time my next appointment came around to review it and everything, it was gone. So I don't know what that was. But those are some very helpful tips to help with my knee pain. And it's not like like it comes and goes. So yeah.
Right.
Interesting. Yeah, we can talk offline about that.
And that xanthomist. So along with the inflammation that you said it helps out with, it also helps you lose weight too, I heard. So that's why I want to get it.
Yeah, it does. And we can talk about that on another time if you want to.
Yes. Listen, you are here with Living Well, the Ultimate Health Journey with Dr. Philip Zini. We're here every week, myself, Alice, and then we have our two coaches, Angel and Jovi Marie. We'll be back next week. Listen, for the products that you heard about or that you've seen, and then I'll put them back up again. And maybe as I put the picture up, Dr. Philip can tell us about each one. But you can go to Wellbeing Path. You can look at the scrolling at the bottom is down there, wellbeingpath.myctfo.com. Right, and they have much more information there for you. And I say this product is great. This is great. Okay, the CTFO, the CBDA, muscle and joint cream. I love it. Now listen, for those who's actually watching, if you do have some type of muscle or joint pain that you would like to see if you can get some relief for, I have a sample for you. Okay, so all you have to do is inbox me, and I'm only giving away 3 of these, so I'll mail this to you and you can get some more information. Okay, so Dr. Zini, we're going to start with the oil, the xanthomist, the cream, and then the glutamate, the last one, the blue one. Okay, so you know I can't talk. All right, let's start with the first one. What can they do with this one here?
Unfortunately, I can't see the picture.
Oh, that's the oil, the Super 1500 CBD oil.
So the oil, that's the one that you drop underneath your tongue. Usually it's about a quarter dropper full that you start off with. And I usually recommend, and I do it myself, at night, because not only does it help out with pain relief and inflammation, it also helps out with sleep. But you usually start off with about a quarter dropper.
Right. Xanthomist.
So the xanthomist, if you're having issues, you can load, which means 4 sprays on the inside of your cheek 4 times a day. You do that for 1 week. Or if you just want to use it to help out with general inflammation, then just 4 sprays inside of your cheek. Again, at night, because you want to try to avoid drinking anything for several minutes before or after to make sure that it doesn't get diluted.
CBDA muscle and joint relief cream.
So that's just as needed when you're having an issue. And one of those packets will cover a very broad area. Occasionally, my wife will use it on her lower back, and she'll use about a half a packet on her lower back. So on a knee, it's probably a quarter packet, and you can use that like every 2 to 3 hours if you need to. You
Yeah.
can't really overdose on it.
Okay. And then the final one is the Glutamist.
So again, it's similar to the Xanthomist. If you're having a specific immunological issue or a detoxing issue, or even a thyroid inflammation type of issue, you can do the load, which would be 4 sprays 4 times a day for 1 week, or you can just start off with 4 sprays a day. And again, at night, because it's a lot easier to avoid having something to drink for several minutes before and after the spray. And you can do both sprays at the same time. That's what I do. I just put the Xanthomist on one side of my mouth and the Glutamist on the other side.
And then again, you can do them both at night, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, that is our talk for today. We're going to get ready to get out of here, and we'll be back here next Wednesday at 8 p.m. All right. So, Living Well, the Ultimate Health Journey. Once again, for the products that was listed, is scrolling by right now, wellbeingpath.myctfo.com. If you would like a free sample of the CBDA muscle cream, go ahead and give me an inbox, and the first 3 that does, I will make sure you get that mailed out to you. And then you'll be able to go to the website and get more information. We're going to have our final words done by Angel, then Jovi, then Dr. Philip Zini, and then I will take us on out of here. Angel?
Hello, everybody. I will encourage you to live well, because that's the only way to live your life. If you are experiencing leg, knee pain, I encourage you to get these products at here we go. Hold on a second. It's coming across.
Wellbeing Path.
Wellbeingpath.myctfo.com.
That's it. All right. No, then we have Jovi. Final words.
Final words. If you feel any pains or anything like that, always be aware of your body. If you have any lumps or anything traveling up your legs, go to the ER. That's the main thing. I know it might not be very beneficial or anything, but a lot of people need to be aware of their bodies and how they feel. So that is the main thing. Right, Dr. Philip?
So I'll echo what Jovi said. Listen to your body and invest in your body. That's the best thing that you can invest in, and that's the thing that's going to help promote a good, healthy life for the rest of your life. So invest in yourself, love yourself, take care of yourself.
And that would be my part, saying I learned a great lesson when I had the knee, because I didn't want to go to the hospital, and I did put it off for probably too longer than I probably should have, because I hate going to the doctor. Love you, Dr. Zini, but I don't like going. So, but they are totally right. Your health is the most important thing that you have. So get some great products. When we can go spend 20, not even 20, if we go spend $100 on a purse, you can definitely go and get something that's going to keep you living a little bit longer. Okay. So, well, we're going to be out here. Listen, find your fire, be true to who you are, and whatever you do, inspire along the way, because that's how we're going to all succeed. If you want more information about the CTFO, please go to my Wellbeing Path, or the Wellbeing Path, myctfo.com. So you'll find all the information there, more about the products that Dr. Zini. And if you do have questions, go ahead and inbox me, and I'll get them over to him. He has no problem answering any questions that you may have. And it doesn't just have to be about the leg. It can be about pretty much anything. All right. So we'll see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. I'm Alice. That's Dr. Zini. There's Angel. And there's Jovi. We'll see you. Bye-bye. Thank you for coming. All right.